Welcome to the season of self-love, your daily dose of inspiration and encouragement. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery. Are you ready to elevate your mindset and embrace the power of self-love? Well, have you come to the right place? Each day we'll dive into topics that will empower and inspire you on your journey towards self-discovery and personal growth. Whether you're looking to cultivate healthy relationships, boost your confidence, or find balance in your life, this podcast is here to support your every step on the way. We believe that self-love is the foundation of living a fulfilled and joyful life. And together we explore practical tips, insightful interviews, and transformative stories that will leave you feeling inspired and motivated. So join me Monday through Friday as we embark on this daily adventure of self-love. Tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast to start your day on a positive note and discover the limitless potential within yourself. All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today is Thursday, May 9, 2024, and welcome, my beautiful people, to another episode of the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are diving into a truly transformative word. You know, May is all about using our words with what? I was about to say authenticity, impeccably. And the word today is compassion. And this May, as everything around us blooms and grows, we are focusing on using our words impeccably to enhance our self-love journey. And today joining us is our resident therapist, Dr. Will of Washington Wellness Institute. Hey, Dr. Will, what is going on?
It feels amazing. I feel free and fresh.
Free and fresh.
Yes. It's a beautiful day in Ohio. The weather is beautiful here.
That's beautiful. Good. That is good. That is so
good.
It. That's good. Well, I'm glad we are back. You know, we took a week off last week. You know, so we both.
I missed you.
I miss you too.
Yeah.
I miss you too. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sun is shining. So you ready for this month? You ready for this?
I mean, being a week off, I might be rusty because I know how hard your questions are. So I'm gonna get back. You have a little grace in this, and we're gonna be okay. You have a little bit of grace. We're gonna be okay.
I think we kind of roll together. We roll with it together. What the show begins to be, when I kind of mold it to be, it never comes out that way. It comes out the way that it's supposed to. So that is what I have learned.
Mm-hmm. Your show blossoms. I'll say your show definitely blossoms. Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to start this conversation about the word compassion and how we can definitely use this word in our daily life. Yes, how we can use it in our daily life. Yes, we can. In a positive way. All right. It's your girl, you got it, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast with Nyomi Banks, where every day is a chance to embrace self-discovery and personal growth. Join Nyomi on a transformative journey, streaming exclusively on Spotify and Breaker. With daily episodes from Monday through Friday, podcast is your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and self-love. Dive deep into engaging conversations about self-care, mindfulness, and personal development. Nyomi brings you expert insights, practical tips, and uplifting stories from thought leaders in the field. Embark on a journey of self-discovery and unlock the power of self-love. Mark your calendars and tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast. Available every weekday on Spotify and Spreaker. Remember, it's time to prioritize yourself and embrace the beautiful season of self-love. Get inspired and join Nyomi Banks on the Season of Self-Love podcast.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, well, welcome back. It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self Love podcast. And I'm here with Dr. Will. Hey, what's going on, Dr. Will?
Feeling good and grateful.
Feeling good and grateful? Feeling good and grateful. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so the month of May is all about using our words impeccably, right? And the word for today is compassion. Compassion. So you know how we used to do it before we get into this episode. Let's start off with a nice little short guided meditation to just center our thoughts and open our hearts. You want to do the for you? You?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah, throw the rock. Yeah. Pass the rock. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, let's do this. So let's just get comfortable first. So I invite you to just find what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel free, what makes you feel fresh, what makes you feel still. And allow your breath to go in with your nose, out with your mouth. In with your nose, out with your mouth. I want you to notice what your body is feeling. There might be heat, coldness, stiffness, looseness. Just allow yourself to just feel. Allow your breath to be a reminder to feel. You spend all day working, talking, exchanging energy. But sometimes we forget to just feel. Allow your breath to be a reminder to feel. Notice what your body is telling you. What are some words that come up when you listen to the feeling of your body? What does it need from you? What does your body need from you? Just listen to it. And as you learn what it needs from you, thank it for opening up to you and trusting you to handle the responsibility. Allow your breath to be a reminder to feel. And as you come back, give yourself about 10 seconds to just thank your body for doing what it needed to do today to be present with us. Allow your hearts to be open to our words. Come back when it's your time.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Will. Thank you. All right, so if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something that we do every Monday to Friday that we do to center ourselves before we get to the topic at hand. And today it's all about compassion and understanding what compassion is and how we could use it into our daily lives. As the month of May is all about using our words impeccably in our self-love journey. Again, thank you for that. But also I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining me in this peaceful moment. And as always, it's always a pleasure to have Dr. Will here with us. I truly did miss you last week. I actually missed the whole show last week of doing the whole week.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic for me on a daily. I kid you not. It truly is. And so I'm doing it. All right, so let's get into it. Let's explore more into the. Ooh, what happened there?
That was a fast commercial. I was like, get on the break. Let me get my water real quick. I was like, I came back like. He told you I gotta keep up with you. I'm gonna keep up with you.
I was over here and it was just doing this.
You missed the podcast so much. You're like, I can get back into this. I was like, you're like, I really miss this podcast.
All right, well, Watching the Wellness wants to come in and just do a nice little plug, really, really quick. Just remind us of who Dr. Will is and where he's coming from. You like that?
And sponsors, added sponsors.
So today is all about compassion and having self-compassion about ourselves. And today we're going to explore on how to integrate compassion into our lives that can profoundly affect our mental well-being and in our
Yeah.
interpersonal relationships. So Dr. Will, for you, can you share how this is shown up in our work, in your work? How does compassion show up in your work?
So I didn't tell you this, Naomi, but I am actually an expert in secondary trauma. So I am an expert in burnout, compassion fatigue, and job life satisfaction. And
Mm-hmm.
so that is one of my expertise specifically. And so the way that compassion has shown up in this world has completely transformed from pre-pandemic and in this recent post-pandemic. The way that it's being seen right now is how I show care for other people. That's what compassion is being seen as.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot deeper and a lot more internalized than we're actually giving it acknowledgement for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really happy that today we're focusing specifically on understanding compassion, being impeccable with that, because I think that we've kind of we've become misaligned with how we
Mm-hmm.
look at compassion now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of hoping we can kind of reset the arm, right? When the arm breaks, you got to reset it, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that we can kind of reset this kind of broken bone of our understanding of compassion in a little more nurturing and self-love way.
Right. I love how you say that. I got a whole bunch of words for you. I mean, a whole bunch of questions for you, right? So,
Mhm.
the thing is, we do talk about self-compassion. It kind of like we kind of gloss over it. We kind of gloss over the self-compassion because it is a part of, our self-love journey. That's a part of,
It is.
I want to say journey. I want to say just the living, the lifestyle, the self-love lifestyle. And I don't,
Mhm.
we talk about it enough. You're right when you say that when compassion comes, it's always about having compassion for someone else, having empathy for someone else. But one thing that we miss to think is having self-compassion for ourselves and knowing and understanding what that means in our life. So for you, how can
Mhm.
we cultivate a deeper sense of compassion towards ourselves?
Yeah. So when you break it down, you break it down into two ways. The first way is, what is my concern about this, and what are my considerations about this? When it comes to compassion, usually it's based upon the concern of others and the consideration of others. So that's where compassion comes from. But the self compassion is understanding, what am I concerned about right now in my life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And what are some things have I not considered yet that might be a factor to my inability to have the type of have actual sympathy for myself? A lot of times we're taught, oh, don't have sympathy for yourself, or no, don't self pity. But
Mm-hmm.
being sympathetic for yourself is actually a natural healing tool.
Mm-hmm.
We've been taught to not be that way.
Yeah.
So I think those are the first two things: the concern and the consideration. Those are the first steps.
I like that. Ooh, ooh. You know what? When you said right now, my body tingling. My body is tingling right now because when you talk about having self compassion and the word pity ourselves, don't have self. That's a word that I feel that has been misused a lot when it comes to allowing someone to. And I spoke
Yeah.
yesterday morning about us being in the moment and not every moment have to be a happy moment. Just because I'm living in the moment now doesn't mean that moment has to be happy. I still need to honor what that moment is or what that experience is in that moment. Whether it's for me to cry, to yell, scream, or whatever it is for that moment, I need to acknowledge and recognize that in that moment. A lot of
Hmm.
times that's been told to us that no, we're not. We need to either sweep it under the rug, get past it, be a bigger person, move on, forget about it. That was old, but never to concentrate on that, what that is. And so why I'm saying that is because more of that comes with the self-pity. So it's if we sit in something that has affected us in some way, somehow, we're told to move on from that. And it's like, well, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
From that, whether I've done it to myself or I allow someone else to do it to me, I feel this way.
Right.
So for me to feel this way, can I just sit in it for a minute? And then can I allow myself to have that conversation with myself and say, you know what, it's okay. What did we learn from that? This is where that conversation comes with that self-talk. That
Mm-hmm.
self-talk.
Yeah.
And it's always positive. It's that self-talk of that self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? To say, this is what this is. You know what I mean? Like, this is where you really can be able to find out what is going on. Why did that trigger you? That's where you go to ask those different questions. Okay, why did it trigger you? Was it this? Was it this? Was it this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have those intimate conversations with yourself so you can understand on truly how to love yourself. Compassion. If you can truly have that true compassion, that self-compassion for yourself, it's just an automatic thing when it comes to somebody else. Because a lot of times when we give compassion to somebody else, is it really genuine?
A lot of times it's usually in pity or guilt or our own projections based upon what we haven't actually dealt with.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love the fact that you talked about self-compassion and you defined it, because a lot of times compassion can be a big word that many people have used religiously and not healing wise. And so for them, the compassion is based upon the example, right? And it doesn't have the same internal affect. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're going to come back and talk about that word self-pity too, and understand what that word is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should definitely. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Listeners, if you guys don't understand, I like to take things and I like to peel them apart. I like to just get every single layer of it, because I need to understand. And as I'm understanding more, I would love for everybody else to understand, because I truly believe this will allow us to understand who we are, not for what somebody else tell us who we are, but that intimate, that conversation that you have with self. You know what I mean? That conversation that you have with yourself. How can we have this strong intuition and we don't know what it is? We don't know what this is. We don't know what this is. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what different parts of our body, we can go just different parts of the body.
There's so many.
Right. We talked about this on Monday about the chakras and the different affirmations and what it means, throughout, to keep us balanced. A lot of things we don't know that because that is not taught to us at all. Not at all. Nowhere near. We're taught to pray. But are we taught to pray? Are we just taught to just speak words or things that we want?
Right. And everybody always, whenever I do prayers for people, they're always like, I'm not religious, but like that didn't feel like a prayer. That was really full and very prosperous. I'm like, well, because you have to know that there's a language to prayer. There's a language to prayer, right? And so if you don't know the language to prayer, it's going to sound stupid. It's going to feel stupid. It's going to feel not authentic, because you were never taught how to center intentions.
I just had like a whole lot. Yeah.
Into the matrix.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, here go another question. How can practicing self-compassion impact our overall well-being in relationship? So let me go back. No, answer that. Answer that, because I think you're going to answer it away and you're going to go back with it. Go. So answer that.
Okay. All right. So say the question again so I can center.
All right. How can practicing self compassion impact our overall well being in relationships?
Mm. If you actually practice true self compassion, it expands your ability to have grace, to actually resolve forgiveness, to truly resolve forgiveness, and also be able to confront the problem and not the person.
Mm.
A lot of times for my couples and my polyamory people, they get so focused on the people that they don't actually focus on the problem. And so I have to disconnect them, really understand what they individually have, teach the self-compassion, so then they can look at the problem as, oh, this problem affected both of us so that we couldn't be connected. Yeah. And so
Mm.
it's really important to understand that. So the grace, the forgiveness, and then the actual act of reconnecting what self-compassion is to deal with the problem rather
Mm.
than the people.
Yes. I like that deal with it. All right. So you just said polyamory. So you have, in that, I
Mm,
mean,
yeah,
really
I've had many polyamorous couple or groups. Yeah, yeah,
groups. Nice. So
mm,
how does that work in that dynamic
yeah,
when counseling them? When
yeah,
counseling them in a manner. I'm used to
mm,
couples, but when you have multi
mm.
dimensional of people that's in that
Mm.
relationship, because a lot of things, especially when you
So
hear
many
and
dynamics.
when you see it, they say you have to be a strong individual to be in that type of relationship, in that dynamic,
Hmm.
from there.
Hmm.
Um, what has been, and I probably need to wait for this, but no, I'm gonna go ahead because I got it right now. What is the most biggest concern when it comes to them being in a relationship that bring them to you?
Like, what's the most common
Problem.
division problem? Most
Yes.
common problem is simply the origin of emotional expectation.
Mm, mm,
So a lot of them do not understand why they became one, why they started it, or if they did, it's because of something emotionally unresolved, or they realize about themselves about how their love is so expansive, but then there's no language for it, but there's a feeling for it.
mm-hmm.
So you're translating multiple different languages into a community or commune, but they don't have the same emotional origin. So, like, for instance, I might start here, you might start here, someone else might start here, if someone's here. Okay, great. That's fine. Okay, but we all got to get right here.
Mm-hmm.
What is the relationship? Right? It's almost like a tribe. Okay, these people are together, but what is the role here? Who are the roles? What are the roles? What is the boundary? What is the limitation? What is enough? Who's the communicator? Who's not the communicator? Who's like, and this is no different than when you look at a family dynamic system, right? The difference is usually in family stories, there's an origin, parents, kids, cousins, family, like, right? There's all
Right.
there's like a hierarchy based upon
Right.
biological deference.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, it's about the emotional deference. Who came to whom first? Then came who to whom? How do you value and change the dynamic of that? It's what they want is a horizontal leadership. But humanistically, that's not how we're designed. So we're designed vertically. We're designed vertically,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we're conditioned vertically. And so to turn that into a horizontal relationship, everybody has to turn in.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the hardest thing, is being able to teach internal communication, right? That interpersonal communication, and be like, what are we saying about us?
Mm.
What did we go through?
Yeah.
Right. Right. And that's why for me, my pronouns are he, him, his, and we, because I understand the collective energy and the collective responsibility of human development. I prefer you if you prefer us. I
Mm.
prefer us if you prefer us. Right. Like, I need us both to understand that we are one in all this. And
Right.
so when my poly people come together, it's really important that we understand What is your emotional origin? How did you come to this?
Right.
Right? Because if you do not understand your origin of why you've come to this, you will begin fracturing that commune. Not because you didn't, not because you wanted to. It's simply because you didn't know why you existed in there.
Mm.
Everybody needs a purpose in a relationship.
Right. Right.
Everybody
Okay.
needs a role in a relationship.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna stop you right here because we could go deep, and this is not the topic at hand. But this is a topic that I got coming up on Ask Naomi. So I'm gonna. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I got some
Mhm.
thoughts and some things going on right here
Yeah.
with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Got you.
My apology. When he said that, that's just click. I said, let me ask this question right now because it's kind of doing my research on it a little bit more, trying to take it to a whole nother level. So you kind of, yeah, I went down that rabbit hole. Yeah,
It was good. It was good because it's still about compassion. Because you have to remove yourself from the problem. Understand the story as a whole, because that's going to create the sympathy that's needed for how these people were a part of the problem.
Right.
You need that. You need that self-compassion.
Yeah.
You have to, and you have to get out of the pity.
Yeah. Did you say you had to get out the pity? Okay. On that note, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hey, it's your girl, D Goddess Naomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnaomi.com and tell them Naomi sent you. All right. It's your girl, Goddess Naomi Banks here on the Season of Self Love podcast. And yep, I did that. That was a wrong one right there.
I was like,
woo, that's gonna be on the edit floor, y'all. That is going to be on the edit floor. When they come back, what is she talking about? Don't even worry about it. Just stick over and just listen to
it. That's the next secret. That's the next secret.
All right, y'all. It's your girl, Goddess Naomi Banks here on the Season of Self Love podcast. I am here with Dr. Will. Hey, Dr.
I'm happy and hopeful.
All right, today all about compassion. It's understanding what compassion is. This is our impeccable word for today. And before the break, Dr. Will was sharing, some things about compassion and what it is. And I know you answered this question without me even asking the question through when we were talking about polyamorous relationship with that. But I want to ask the question so then you can put the answer with the question. All right? You ready? What are some common barriers that prevent people from expressing compassion, and how can we overcome them?
Yeah, I would say remorse. So shame and guilt is a very dividing emotional malignancy. Shame and guilt make us feel like our words aren't valuable.
Yeah.
It makes us feel as if our words don't have weight. It makes us question the value of our input. It makes us question the validity that we hold with others, right? And it makes us question what the worth is of our input to others' lives. And so a lot of times it makes us disconnected, or it makes us even feel unworthy to have compassion. And so it's a very hard thing. But I think remorse, a lot of times guilt and shame, even embarrassment, because honestly, sometimes they say the truth is hard. I think the biggest thing, the truth, it can be embarrassing, and I think a lot of times we don't realize how embarrassing the truth is, because it makes us vulnerable to the reality of our relationships with people. And a lot of times that vulnerability is something that is actually the very same thing that we need, even though we're afraid of how people will look at us. And so that compassion can't enter. So that's a really big barrier.
So let me ask you this: with the truth, is it the truth embarrassing because of what you think somebody would think versus you being truthful in your truth? Do you understand that
Yes.
question?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let me ask you, how many times have you? Well, not now because you've grown so many ways. But how many times where you're in a moment and you knew something wasn't right or true, but then you just like, well, let me just see what happens, and because it didn't really affect me that much, I'm just gonna go with the flow and just see what happens. How many times have you done that in your life?
Oh, probably a lot of times. Not even thinking. Just what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like
just not even thinking, right? Yeah,
not
we
even
just do it
thinking.
all the time.
Right, just a second
Yeah.
nature. Yeah. And I guess that's why I asked that question because in that moment, it was more of not about me living my truth, about what I felt that someone else would think because I'm speaking my truth. Now I can
Exactly.
speak my truth because it's mine. This is my shit. You excuse me, but this is mine.
Right.
My
It
thing.
had to get, but you had to get to there, right? And a lot of
Yeah,
people
I
have
had to
not worked. They haven't. People are afraid to lose something that was never really theirs,
mm-hmm. Mm,
right? And
mm-hmm.
that's when you have true self love. The only thing you're worried about losing is your own heart in the matter.
Yeah. Ooh. I don't think a lot of people truly understand that. It No, they do not. And when you just said that about
Mm.
losing their own heart, and you know why? It's because they're more concerned about other people's hearts than they are their own.
This
And
goes back
so,
to.
yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
And so oh, so when you're caring about somebody else's heart more than your own, and you more invested in that other person's heart than your own, when that other person has gotten all of your energy and they're gone, what do you have? What do you have? Nothing. Nothing. So
Hmm.
what does that bring? That brings, what you say, the shame, the embarrassment, all of those
I call
certain,
them the emotional malignancies.
yeah,
The
all of,
5 R's:
right.
action, rationalizing, remorse, regret, resentment,
Yeah. And
emotional
what I
malignancy.
right. And what I have learned is that why we love on so many people so much is because we don't know how to love ourselves. So we try to take whatever we feel we need for ourselves to put it on somebody else, hoping that automatically they're gonna show us that when that's probably not even what we need.
Hmm. Nope.
Yeah.
People are reflections of parts of us.
Yeah.
So whatever we feel for somebody else is a part of us actually being activated.
Mm-hmm.
But we never take the time to think about that in the moment. We're just experiencing. We're not feeling, we're experiencing. There's a difference between feeling and experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Two different things.
Mm-hmm. All right. So here's it. I'm gonna get a little deep. Well, no, I'm about to get a little nosy. Can you share a personal experience where you practicing self-compassion that made a significant difference for you?
Yes. Recently. So I have been waiting to talk to somebody for about 5 months. I miss them. I love them. They're great. Um, but the urgency of me was I just wanted because I know that my intentions are great. I know that I know how to deal with the hard, the good, bad, and the ugly. I had the language for it. I had the willingness for it, but they didn't. And so for me, I went through an array of pity where I was like, well, maybe I'm just not worthy. Maybe I'm just not the one. Maybe I'm just not the good person. Maybe, they're going their way, I'm going my way. Maybe we just can't be together. Maybe it won't work out. And I stopped myself and I had to realize what I'm suffering from is the misfortune of the connection I miss. Because what did that connection mean to me? It made me feel valuable. It made me feel desired. It made me feel full as a man. Um, it allowed me to be a provider, which I love. And I realized that I'm just hurt because I value those things so much. And I don't get to have the same level of access. And so I learned that what they needed had nothing to do with me. I just know that I was feeling like, oh, I just miss being the person I know I love to be. Okay, well, when it's my turn to do that again, I'll just do it again. That's not something that I lost. That's something that I just miss doing.
Mm-hmm.
Very different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gave myself compassion because I was concerned about who I'm not going to be, but I had to be more considerate of the fact that I have the power to still do this.
Yeah.
So I gave myself compassion, and now I'm just very patient, and it feels good. And so now I'm actually like really good about it. So yeah, I think that that's a really good story of just how I came through that, and I went through the process of that, and I think that's important. I experienced it, I felt it, and I resolved it at the same time.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm. Yeah.
I do. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. All right, so we're
Mhm.
starting something new a little bit here and there. We open it up. I posed this question out earlier this week to our listeners, and I wanted them to kind of join in the conversation with this. And so what I did was is that I posed a question out this week about compassion on sharing their stories for compassion this week. All right. So I'm gonna read this letter to you. All right, and then I want you to get your thing. All
Mhm.
right, it says, Dear Naomi. All right, let me make sure I'm here. Okay, I hope this letter finds you well. I am from Vancouver, surrounded by busy cities and life and beauty of nature, but my thoughts drift towards a topic that feels especially poignant today, and that's compassion. Compassion is a word that carries immense weight and significance in our lives, and it is the gentle nudge that reminds us to be kind, to be understanding, and to be for one another in times of joy and sorrow. So, in a world that can often feel disconnected and fast paced, compassion serves as a beacon of light, guiding us toward unity and empathy. I have come to realize that compassion is not just a fleeting emotion, but it's a way of being and a way of living that can transform our relationships and our communities and ourselves. And it is the small gestures of kindness that the listening ear and the confronting embrace that will find the true essence of compassion. So it's in a city of diverse. They live in Vancouver, filled with people of all walks of life and backgrounds. Compassion becomes a common thread that binds us together. It is in the shared smiles, the helping hands, and the moments of understanding that we truly connect with one another on a deeper level. As I navigate my own journey, I am constantly reminded of the power of compassion to heal, to uplift, and to inspire. It is a reminder to look beyond ourselves and to see the humanity in others and to extend a hand of support whenever it is needed. So let us embrace compassion in all that it is forms in words, our actions, and in our intentions. So let us be listeners to confront the pillars of the strength for those around us. And let us remember that in a world that comes sometimes feel chaotic and uncertain, compassion will always be our guiding light. With heartfelt warmth, Sarah. 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 All right, for you, I like that letter. Um, I like that letter.
Mm,
Thank you, sir.
yeah.
Dr. Will, do you have any thoughts on our listener's letter? Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the way that they explained it was a very biblical way, right? We want to be the example of compassion.
Mhm.
Once we give compassion, people will also become the light that you are too. And I love the fact that there is an exchange when it comes to compassion, and it is a healing energy that can go through communities.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us are trying to figure out what is the tool that they need to actually live in compassion. A lot of us don't know that we're being compassionate.
Hmm.
And then when you meet somebody that has that compassion, you don't get something from them. You become a part of that movement. And that's what makes the communities thrive, is that it's passed down. So I tell people compassion isn't just a model, it's a gift. And a gift is only as good as you give it. I can have a beautiful chain for you, but it'll mean nothing until I give it to you. So I always say compassion is one of the most human gifts you can offer. And I think that is a healing tool. And a lot of us don't realize that all we have to do is show up.
Yeah.
I can't think compassion.
Yeah.
I can't even speak compassion. You have to be compassionate. You have to be that. And I think that's one of the biggest goals that I think healers want to achieve is the spiritual embrace and the embodiment of compassion.
Yeah.
Because you're literally offering yourself as a gift to others.
When even after reading this letter, and I was just thinking about, just say for instance, just us being on social media and some of the work that especially that you do, but we do. When I think about a lot of times when I'm speaking, especially on these platforms, I try to lead by example. That means that I'm not just speaking or just doing the research, that I'm truly living on what I am saying, what I'm doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so in that aspect with compassion, every day, every day I am practicing compassion. Every day.
Yes, every day.
For myself more than anything, because if I don't have compassion for myself, how can I be compassionate with others? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
How can I truly be genuine compassionate for others and not feel shame or guilt, like you said earlier? You understand what I'm saying? And so for me, that's what makes it important to be able to break these down. Break every word of these down. I'm going back to the book, Four Agreements. That very first agreement is about using our words impeccably. Our words are powerful. That's why even when you pray, even with the words that you speak out of your mouth, you want those words to be as positive as possible, because those words hold weight.
Yes.
Because
I love that.
Behind them. Yeah.
I tell my upcoming therapist, I tell them, are you speaking at your client, in your client, or with your client? If you can't know the difference between those three things in a 60-minute session, then I need you to sit with me first. Because the truth is that they're already dealing with life.
Yeah.
And so the words that you're adding into them are either going to expand them or decay them. And you don't destroy people, you decay them, because over time those words will sit in them. And it lives in you. Words live in people. And people don't think about that. Your words live in people.
Yeah.
And so and for my empaths out there, be careful about your compassion, because sometimes if you don't channel your compassion articulately enough, it becomes enabling. And that's a whole nother talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had been me. I said had.
Had.
I said had. That was me until I truly, first of all, because it was very draining. It was very draining. But not only did I have to make myself accountable for being that to that person, but also I had to make that other person accountable too. You need to start showing up for yourself. And this is why you need to start showing up for yourself. We can't keep doing this over and over again the same way and think that we're going to have a different outcome, whatever it is in life. You know what I mean? So we keep going through this same test. Did you learn anything from that test? What did you take from any of those tests that you've been through? Did you take anything away from that? Just sit in it for a moment. Don't don't try to answer my question before I finish with the question. Just, and that's what I seen a lot of people that has in my life. They always want to answer the question before the question is even said, but not sit in the question and just sit in it for a moment. It could take you 10 minutes to answer. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But I want you to think about it, and I want you to think about things in your life that happened, whatever it was.
That's considering, right?
Yeah.
That's considering. That's consideration.
To make you see, like, okay, what is this? Why am I doing? Wait, what is this? What am I? Okay, is it something that I really need to do? Because sometimes we go around in that same circle over and over again because we still going around because we failed that test, and we're not looking at ourselves for none of that. I know I went around it for a few times. I said, hold up, I'm busy. Wait, I can't come.
I've told people, I'm like, hey, like, come back in 5 minutes because I could answer this, but I don't know if it's the answer that you're looking for.
That.
Yeah. That. Yeah. I think especially being a therapist, I listen to so many stories every day. I listen to a minimum of 7 to 8 stories a day. So if you think about like how many lives I'm listening to and how many people in those lives that person is being affected by. And then when they're speaking it to me, I'm deciphering through it all, understanding what is the core of this meaning. But then where I'm like at the grocery store and, I'm just trying to get by, like, just moving the cart around. People are asking me questions at the grocery store. Like, hey, do you know where the milk is? And I'm like, they're just asking for milk. I don't have to break this down. I can be right here with you. Right. I'm just getting the milk, and I have to remind myself because being compassionate, being someone of compassion, you have to remember when to turn it off.
Yeah.
Because some people aren't ready for your compassion because they don't know what type of gift you really are.
Yeah.
And so you have to accept what type of gift you are to other people. Also, you have to think about what type of gift you are to people and realize when some people, your gift is not a gift to them. You're not a gift to everyone because some people may not see you as the gift. So you have to ask yourself, what am I really offering the world? And do I know what I'm actually offering? And compassion is very intentional.
Yeah.
It's not blind. Compassion is very direct.
Yeah.
Love is blind, but compassion is not.
That was good, Dr. Will. All right.
I try.
All right.
A little bit.
All right, my beautiful people. All right, well, it is come time for us to, we got to wrap this up. We got to wrap on this show. All right, Dr. Will. So as we wrap out this show, could you just share some more practical ways that listeners can bring more compassion into their everyday lives?
Yeah, just 3 simple things. 1, make sure you know what you're giving to other people. 2, what type of gifts are you receiving from the people you're most involved with now? And 3, how is your gratitude meter? A lot of times, if you're not able to acknowledge the gratitude of others in your life, you cannot build the compassion you have for other people. So let's just work on the growth of gratitude. It's a really great fuel mechanism for your compassion.
Yeah. And don't forget to add it into your affirmation as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, add it into your affirmation. I choose to respond with compassion. It reminds us to choose kindness all the time. All the time. All right, Dr. Will. Well, again, thank you so much for sharing your insights today and just helping us to understand the profound impact of compassion. You got any last words? Any last words?
Be kind to yourself and heal always.
I know that's right. All right, my beautiful people. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And I want you to remember that compassion starts with us and it can make all the difference. So tune in next time for more exploration into self-love, So until then, keep embracing compassion in all that you do. Have a good one. Thank you for listening to the Season of Self-Love podcast. And we hope that you enjoyed this fun filled with inspiration, empowerment, and self-discovery. Remember, practicing self-love is a journey and not a destination. For more information and to stay connected with us, visit our website at theseasonofselflovepodcast.com. And if you have any suggestions or questions or feedback, feel free to shoot us an email at seasonofselflove@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for daily doses of self-love tips, motivation, and community support. So join our Facebook group, The Season of Self-Love, to connect with like-minded individuals on their journey to self-discovery and self-compassion. Thank you again for being a part of our community and dedicating to nurturing self-love and embracing self-worth. So stay tuned for more exciting episodes and guests in the next season. And remember, you are worthy of love, kindness, and all the happiness in the world. So until next time, take care of yourself and spread love wherever you go. See you soon.